Okay, sorry. My question is, what kind of role does Galadriel play, and are there any female characters you added?
Good one. That's a great question for Philippa.
Yeah, there are. Galadriel, as you all know, is the most powerful being in Middle-earth at this time. And we wanted to go in there and tell that story. We worked with Kate, we talked to her about the role. She did a phenomenal job. I had my total geek out moment when she stepped up. And the Battle of Dol Guldur, let me just say that was extraordinary. But so she immediately brings a very powerful feminine energy into the film. And one of the reasons it's interesting that you did that, because we did feel the weight of it being a bit of a boy's own story. After a while, you feel the weight of that. And we did create a character, her name's Tariel, who is an elf, who is played magnificently by Evangeline Lilly, who I believe you saw a little bit of. She's our redhead. We have, we created her for that reason, to bring that energy into the film, that feminine energy. And we believe it's completely within the spirit of Tolkien. You know, we tried really hard, and she wanted that.
Oh yeah, what are the I always wonder what the Hobbit feet feel like to put on and then pounce around in.
They're good. For the first few days, it's a little bit like a fledgling duck, just kind of finding your flippers. But after that, they're surprisingly easy. Yeah, they're kind of you can forget that and just carry on with the scene and playing the character. But whenever I was having a hard day or a tiring day where I had a bunch of other people just to look at and know that I was having a relatively easy time of it physically, because everyone in huge prosthetics and big costume rigs were being far more heroic than I was. So maybe Richard should talk about that.
Yeah, we went through quite an evolution with the look for Thorin, and of course all of the dwarves who are kind of very clearly defined by their features. Working in a prosthetic like that was one of the biggest challenges, because you really have to work your face harder to portray what you're trying to express inside. And on day one, I really didn't think that I was going to make it anywhere close to 2 or 3 weeks into the shoot. But by the end of the journey, I couldn't work without it, and I didn't recognize, the person underneath it. But managing the heat and the stench of sweaty dwarf was a challenge in itself.
Excellent.
That lady loves you.
What is your question?
Hi, hello. I love you guys. I came all the way from Brazil just because of you. Just because of you. I spent all my money on this trip, but it was worth it. And before I make my question, Ian, I'm your biggest fan. I love Gandalf, Magneto. You are the greatest, man. You're the greatest. I have a simple gift for you from Brazil. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, make sure I get that.
Thank you very much. It's a t-shirt signed by Anderson Silva. It's important for me, and I would like to give it to you.
Oh wow.
So my question is for Peter. I gotta know this. Will you make a movie about Silmarillion?
I think the chances of me living till I'm 110 are very remote. No, the Silmarillion is totally owned by the Tolkien estate. It's not owned by Warner's or MGM like The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings are. So, I don't think the Tolkien estate like these movies at all. So, I wouldn't imagine that the Silmarillion is going to go anywhere for quite a long time.
All right. Sorry, Brazil.
Sorry, Brazil.
Thank you, guys are awesome. Donkey Kong is awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming.
My question is for Martin, but first I just wanted to say, Sir Ian McKellen, I've grown up with your acting, Gandalf, Magneto, whatever, and it's just, your performances have always been very, very special to me, so thank you for that. My question for Martin, though, is, were you, intimidated or maybe under pressure because you're joining such an ambitious project that's already been established with so many other actors and people who worked on the previous films?
In all honesty, I know it might sound a bit disingenuous to say it, but I honestly didn't feel a huge amount of pressure. I certainly didn't feel intimidated. Once I'd met Peter, Fran and Phil, I felt relaxed with them. I felt they were recognisable human beings. They weren't trying to impress me. They weren't trying to do that stuff to me, which sometimes people can do, which is like, do you realise, you know, how lucky you are, kind of thing. They weren't doing that to me. They just wanted me to be in the film, and that really made me want to be in the film. And obviously you can't really take intimidation or pressure to work with you, you know, because you won't do your best work and you won't do your best playing, which is an actor's job. So I don't, you know, when you're doing scenes and when you're just going to work day to day, you're not thinking about this. I mean, you'd go mad if you were thinking about how's Comic-Con going to react to the way I choose to move that bottle or whatever. You know, it's very remote, you know, when you're actually doing the work, and it's a friendly place to work as well. You know, it's its own little world, Wellington, and Wellington, and it feels like a sort of special little place where these films are made, where, you know, your only job is just to go along and enjoy it and do as best you can. I can honestly say I wasn't. I mean, I had to find my way into it. It's not like I just hit the ground running and there was Bilbo. I had to find my way in. Between me and Pete, we negotiated, and, you know, he usually won. But I never felt intimidated by it at all. Thank God, you know, because it's just meant that I was able to hopefully do my job.
2 weeks to play Gollum again, which I was very much looking forward to, of course. And then about a month before I was about to come down to New Zealand, I get an email from Fran who says, Andy, I know you probably got something on, but Pete would like you to come direct the second unit, and so would you mind coming down for a year and a half instead of 2 weeks? Now, it's not unusual to do that sort of thing in this company, and of course, once I picked myself up off the floor, I was on that plane, of course. I mean, it was a remarkable and extraordinary experience for two counts. One obviously working with Martin, who I've wanted to work with for a long time, and to get the chance to play opposite him for that scene, which was a great experience, and was the first thing to be shot in the movie, actually. We spent 2 weeks shooting the entire scene. A number of times. Pete wanted to let it feel like a theatre piece where we could really play off each other, and Martin could find the character of Bilbo, and it was a really amazing way of working, and it was terrific. And then I, you know, began the process of jumping into the director's chair, putting on the 3D glasses, getting to grips with 48 frames a second, a crew of 160 people, cranes, technicranes, a schedule, dwarves, dwarf doubles, scale doubles, stunt doubles, a schedule that kept changing every 2 minutes, and it was a huge film education for me, and enabled by you know, the greatest mentor possible. Peter's been an immense part of my life for the last 12 years, and Fran and Philippa, they've given me such incredible opportunities, and I will eternally be grateful to them. They've honestly made a massive difference, and to be entrusted with that position was a dream to behold. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, would you...
For fuck's sake, do I have
No, I'm sorry.
You said you weren't gonna whore yourself, you said it! But you get in front of 6,500 fucking people, what you gonna do, precious?
But I only in the sort of universal human sense of, you know, you can empathise with people who we all have fear, and we all have reservations, and we all have places that we're scared to go, you know, whether they're internal or whether they're external. So I mean, it's certainly something I can relate to. I mean, that's part of your job as an actor, is just to be relatable to things anyway. And I guess, yeah, beyond that, part of it is just casting. You know, I didn't cast myself in it, so, you know, whatever they saw they saw, that's they, thank you, was, you know, they thought would be helpful for me to play Bilbo, but no, it was more kind of, I'm a big believer in knowing what play you're in, you know, and in this play I have to sort of be, in a way, the eyes and ears of the audience, you know, because I'm the nearest thing to an audience member that there is in the film, really. I think Bilbo has to be relatable to, has to be empathetic, and so my job partly is to relate that by just being open and just having a certain vulnerability, having a certain wit and a certain lightness of touch. It can't be too heavy, it can't be too riven with anything. So yeah, I mean, I just turn up.